Thank you for attending the fifth part of HULATAM webinar series. In these sessions, we are going to introduce Harrisburg University, its available resources, and the researches that are going on. My name is Roosevelt. I'm an associate professor of data analytics at Harrisburg University, and I have the honor to be the host of these weekly sessions. Harrisburg University is a STEM-focused university in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with an additional location in Philadelphia. And now we are proud to move to City of Knowledge in Panama, and later on in some other locations in Latin America. So HU has more than 50 programs in undergrad, grad, and PhD level, and we have 7,000 students who are representing more than 102 countries. HULATAM will offer a Master of Science in Data Analytics, Project Management, and Cybersecurity, which will be delivered in hybrid format, which means online and on-campus classes. And the courses will be taught by instructors from Harrisburg University of Science and Technology in the United States. The HU Panama location will also offer cutting-edge professional development seminars and courses. And also we are going to have scholarship for the first few cohorts. Without any more talk, let's start our talk tonight with Dr. Philip Mann. He is an assistant professor of organization and management. Dr. Mann has more than 2 decades of helping leaders understand the value of federal government projects, where the individual project budgets are in the millions, but the value is often hard to nail down. He has managed requirements and value analysis on dozens of national and international projects affecting federal agencies across the Department of Transportation, Department of Justice, and the Department of Defense, plus the governments of Canada and Mexico. A veteran of the Navy, Army, and National Guard, Dr. Mann is currently a full-time assistant professor of organization and management at Harrisburg University and an adjunct assistant professor of project management at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, teaching graduate courses in project management at both institutions. Dr. Mann, please.
Oh, thank you, Roosevelt. This evening, I want to talk about a little bit about what the project management profession is, and try to kind of level set a little bit, so that later on when Professor Rainey talks about what the program can do, you'll understand a little bit about where we've been, what we're doing as a project management profession, how we got to where we are, and most importantly, where we are going and how that's going to help you professionally, regardless of your industry. Now, project management itself is a very industry agnostic discipline. Project management it's a job that occurs anytime there is a change, anytime there is something different happening, anytime you want to move your business or your products or your organization from one place to another place. That's what project managers do. They manage that change. They manage that transition from one area to another. But looking at kind of the history of project management, where we've been, what we're looking at, and where we're going, the past project managers was generally the keeper of the resources, where the focus was on efficiency. Currently, we're kind of in a transition between the present and future state, where people have focused very much on methodology owners. And I'll get a little more into these as we go on. But the future of project management looks very different. The future is of project managers as decision leaders, as people who make decisions, not just manage resources and people. So in the past, project managers were the keepers of resources. Their main goal was efficiency. Their main tasking was to count the sticks of lumber or the number of people and to get all of those in the right place at the right time. Their main role was kind of a governance role, where they managed the flow of labor and resources to get things done. Now, this goes all the way back into prehistory, before the pyramids. As long as there's been civilization, there has been a project manager in this role of the keeper of resources that monitored and managed and made sure that the city or the village or the company or the organization were getting the most they could get out of the limited resources and limited people they had, and ultimately trying to accomplish just that next task. But at that point in time, in history, project managers were not too different from accountants. But when we moved into kind of the present state, where we got through this area where we're the keep of the resources and we were done with our lumber and our concrete, and we started looking at the different ways that people manage projects in different industries, when we started looking at IT and we started looking at healthcare, the project manager became a methodology owner. The project manager became somebody who was an expert in a specific methodology, who was somebody who could do traditional project management or manage waterfall method, or they could use Agile method, or they could use Scrum method, but they became very much an advocate and an owner and a flag holder or a banner holder, somebody who was carrying a methodology with them as kind of the tool to solve all the project management problems. Methodology owners very much tended to be, they tended to be very highly trained, very highly qualified, but sometimes in a very narrow skill set. They would know everything there is to know about their industry and about the one methodology that they understood, and they would generally be able to craft a project that would work with that methodology under almost any circumstances. And it met with some success in projects that were difficult to nail down, that were iterative in nature, or projects that had a very limited involvement with people, so very small stakeholder groups. A lot of these methodology owners were very successful in doing this kind of thing. But the methodology ownership has kind of run its course. It's gotten to be about as good as it's going to get, and we're needing to transition as a profession into our future state. Now, our future state is as a decision leader. And this is a very, very foundational change to the nature of project management. If you look at those two previous phases, project managers were largely parts of the machine. They were people who were, they were working on behalf of a company at the direction of a company, but essentially just doing what they were told to do. We're turning that on its head as project management goes forward, because project managers are going to be very focused on looking to the future. Project managers are going to be charged with maintaining the corporate strategy and maintaining the alignment of projects, not just the materials and the people and the intellectual property, but they're going to be charged with making sure that projects are chosen that meet the strategic needs of the organization. These future-facing project managers will focus very much on two aspects. They will focus on corporate strategy. So what is the company or the country or the business intending to accomplish long-term? And they're focusing on people, because we've realized over the decades that relationships are important, that working with the people both on our team as well as our contractors and our vendors and our regulators, all of these people are critical to accomplishing this strategy. So the project manager of the future is one part strategy analyst and one part people leader, and they will need to put those skills together to move forward. Additionally, the project manager of the future needs to understand many methodologies. Where up to present, project managers have been okay if they knew one methodology and they knew that methodology very well. The future project manager needs to know how to dissect methodologies and how to take parts of one methodology and put it into another methodology to make their project more effective and more valuable and more efficient. They're going to have to know all of the potential ways you can manage a project and can't really specialize in just one. And this is going to mean that they're going to have to use those strategic thinking and those people resources to bring in methodology specialists or to shore up their skill set with training initiatives and things, but they're going to have to learn how to mix and match methodologies. For example, a big project to create a new airplane may involve a lot of traditional methodology that just basically you finish a task and you complete another task, you complete another task, and you do these in order. But there's going to be a part where you start developing systems or you start developing software, and those will have to be done in an iterative way that fits maybe a more agile methodology. And the project manager of the future will integrate these things together. All of this is focused on getting to making decisions. The project manager, where the project manager profession is going, where the project manager of the future is going, is to be in a position to have a seat at the decision-making table. And what this means is that the project manager is going to have to be knowledgeable about their project and the projects to their left and right. They're going to understand where all of the resources are. They're going to understand the long-term strategic picture and how everything they're doing today lines up or doesn't line up tomorrow. And they are going to have to either make the decision about what projects to do and when, or advise other people, advise executive leaders, advise senior management on what projects they need to take on and which ones they shouldn't, when they should defer things, when they should expedite things. It's going to be up to the project manager to make those decisions. And those decisions are going to be the backbone of all of their people focus and strategy focus and their ability to get things done in the future. I think that's about all I have for that presentation, but I'm open to any questions right now, just in between. I think what I'd like you to do while you're here is, for those of you that are in attendance or those of you who are watching later, kind of think about your perspective as a leader in your organization or as a potential leader in your organization, and consider where you are in that spectrum, whether you are one of the previous kind of an old methodology project manager that is thinking exclusively about just the resources and the labor and just trying to get those things together, or if you're maybe at a more mature place where you're considering methodologies and you're considering how to align with strategy. And think about where you are now and consider how you would like to get to that future point where you are a decision leader in your organization and you are getting things done that really make a difference long term.
I think a question is coming up. I'm waiting for it and I'll ask it. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask it. So there's a question for the... Do you want me to read?
Question. Which methodology is the most modern one?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, if you were going to pick a methodology that probably embodies the most modern mindset of methodologies, there's no one methodology, but there's a family of methodologies that's called Crystal Method. And they're named Crystal Ruby, Crystal Emerald. There's different things called Crystal Method. And the reason I think that embodies the perspective of the modern project manager is that the different types of crystal methodologies, they build on each other kind of in a spectrum of beginning the very simple methodology that works on small projects and small teams all the way up to the very big Crystal Method projects that are designed more for like building dams and airports and cities that work with thousands of stakeholders. But the spectrum of Crystal Method project management runs that entire gamut, and it allows you to plug and play and make the decisions and make the differences that you need so that you can keep in that decision-making mindset.
Thank you, Dr. Mann. Dr. Mann, any questions, other questions?
Got some more typing here. It's probably useful to think about, while we're talking about methodologies, while we're thinking about methodologies, is one of the first kind of steps to entering that modern mindset is realizing that there is no one perfect methodology. That every project by definition is a new initiative. It's never been done before or never been done by that organization. So trying to go into it as an advocate saying, I have the methodology that is going to be perfect, without understanding what the project is, realizing that that's a mistaken way to approach projects is one of the cornerstones that got us to this thinking like a modern project manager, because too many projects have failed because people have been advocating a specific methodology, whether it's Agile or Scrum or whatever it is. They go into the project thinking we're going to do it this way, but they haven't even figured out what it is they're trying to do. And you really have to get the goals of the project and then find the methodology that best fits those goals. You can't go in with a methodology and then cram a project into it, especially if you don't really know what the goals are, and just cram a project into it. Then any methodology you pick is almost, it's just going to be sheer luck if you find a good enough methodology that will work with that project without understanding what you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you. I think it was a complete description. Thanks, appreciate it. So now let's move to our next speaker, Scott Rainey. He is a lecturer in strategic leadership and management and program lead of HU's project management program. Scott Rainey is a veteran of U.S. Army, having retired on July 31st, 2013 as a lieutenant colonel with over 26 years of service. Upon retirement, Mr. Rainey was nominated to the State Civil Service Commission by Governor Tom Corbett and confirmed by the Pennsylvania State Senate on June 30th, 2013. Governor Corbett appointed Commissioner Rainey to serve as chairman of the commission effective this date, and he remained in this capacity until July 12, 2015. Following his term with Pennsylvania Civil Service Commission, Mr. Rainey served nearly 3 years as Director, Total Force for Naval Supply System Command at NSA Mechanicsburg, PA. Mr. Rainey served as a corporate faculty member at Harrisburg University for over 3 years, teaching graduate level courses in organizational leadership and business communications. In January 2019, Mr. Rainey became a full-time lecturer in leadership and communications at Harrisburg University. He is currently the program lead of the Master of Science in Project Management at Harrisburg University. So, Dr. Rainey, please.
Thank you, Roosevelt. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about a program that we're all very proud of and very passionate about. So what I'm going to do here for the next 10 or 15 minutes is to try to translate the really brilliant talk of Dr. Mann about the purpose or the future of project management into how at Harrisburg University within the Masters of Project Management program, how do we set about helping you achieve that? How do we help you achieve your academic goals? Just some generalities about the program first. We're a very large program, somewhere between 1,100 and 1,200 full-time master's candidates in our master's program. I have a team of almost 120 highly qualified, very passionate project management professionals who instruct our courses. The vast majority of them are currently serving in some capacity in some organization outside of the university in their full-time job as a project manager of some form. We kind of believe that is a strength of our program because the folks who will be teaching you in your classrooms are bringing practical, very current knowledge of how things are being done in the professional world across every imaginable industry, and not just theory, not just academic theory of how the books say that project management should be done. Even our full-time faculty, I have 7 pretty highly qualified full-time faculty who do this as their primary day job, but every one of them were recruited more or less from the business sector, the industrial sector. They've all not spent their entire lives as academics, but instead have been practitioners, which has really formed the flavor, the character of our program as a very applied program. I like to tell my students that the value of this program doesn't have to be, you don't have to wait 2 years and wait for your diploma to reap the benefits of participation in this program. It is our stated goal and oft repeated goal among ourselves that we want students to be able to leave our weekly classroom sessions and take something back to their workplace that the very next day. So every day you have the opportunity to learn something that you can apply in your ongoing professional life. It's very important to us that our courses remain relevant and applicable to what you do on a daily basis. So how do we do that? Our course, our program is a 36 credit hour program, which is really 12 3-credit hour courses. Typical students take 2 years to complete those 12 courses. They work their way through 6 semesters of 2 courses each. Nothing precludes you from taking actually up to 4 courses at a time if you wanted to really go through it. But we find that our most successful students are able to navigate 2 courses along with their work-life balance and do quite well. So those 12 courses consist of kind of 2 categories. There are 8 what we call core courses that every project management student must take. And those courses start with a fundamentals course. We integrate a professional communications course, an organizational leadership course. There are courses on risk management and procurement, on planning, and specifically on one methodology, at least currently, because it is so prevalent in industry, in the Agile Scrum methodology. So that forms the sort of foundational core, and then additionally 2 required courses, one a research and writing methodologies course, sort of the standard requirement for all graduate level programs, teach you how to research, make sure everybody understands how to create academic written products. And then the final capstone course, you have an option. You can either build upon that research arm and publish a master's thesis, a significant body of work, usually 35 or 40 pages written, and you can go that route, or you can choose to pursue the more applied route where you have an opportunity, instead of a thesis, to create an entire project plan, soup to nuts, and defend that plan or that thesis to a faculty panel. Those 12 courses, as I said, are typically taken two courses at a time. We have a recommended sequence that we ask students to try to adhere to, although very often there are extenuating circumstances, scheduling situations where students deviate from that. It's recommended but not prescribed. But what we've done is pair courses together by academic logic and sequence, but also in terms of sort of balancing workloads so that we don't put too much on your plate for any given semester in terms of heavy workload in both classes. We try to balance that well. Our courses are delivered in the courses that will be available in Latin America will be delivered in two ways. One is what we call our executive format. That course and all of our courses can be taken in either format. So as you move through the program, but the executive format is a 14-week long semester. Each week during that semester, you have a prescribed meeting time. It's typically 6 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern, or 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern in a virtual classroom with your professor and your classmates, where I don't like the term lecture. I hope most of my colleagues are not just talking to you for 2 hours, but instead generating a dialogue, a give and take, some discussions, breaking out into smaller working groups and having the students report back to the larger group. But that happens weekly, a 2-hour session in a virtual classroom. In the executive format, in addition to those 14 weekly meetings, you have I think we're going to be delivering 2 Saturday on-site workshops, effectively a 6-hour Saturday of all the students come together with the faculty member on the ground. We'll be sending faculty members to the City of Knowledge. We're really looking forward to getting down on the ground and being able to be face to face with our students. And so that will happen 2 or 3 times during each semester. And that is the executive format, 14 weekly sessions and then those Saturday sessions. The other format that you could take our courses in, and you could take one in one format and one in the other if you wanted, is just purely the 14 weeks of 2-hour a week synchronous classroom, virtual classroom sessions. So it's just like the executive format minus the Saturday classes. You'll find, I'm sure most of you find, already kind of understand how you learn best, and you will be able to make some choices about what kind of format you would want to take these classes in. You will be assigned a faculty advisor. If you happen to be enrolling in HU Latin America in the spring, I will be your faculty advisor. So I can help you select those classes and keep you in the sequence. But each semester thereafter, a full-time faculty member will be assigned an incoming cohort who works with you proactively throughout your time in the program to make sure that you're selecting the right courses, advising you on things in terms of maybe you're not sure if you want to do the applied project at the end or you want to write a master's thesis. That discussion with your faculty advisor your academic advisor will help clarify that in your mind. Another big role of the academic advisor within our program is to help you decide if you want to take a specific concentration. I talked to you about the 8 core courses. Well, there are 12 total courses, which means you have 4 electives that you get to choose. And that is where concentrations come into play. as a student in our program, you can select an individualized concentration, which simply means you can choose any offered graduate course from any program to broaden your horizons. For example, if you're a project management student, but you happen to work in the biotech industry, you might want to take a particular elective in a graduate elective in the biotech program, or you want to know more about data sciences, and so you have those available. The individualized is an a la carte menu. You can mix and match those 4 electives, however, to the degree that it meets your academic goals. But if you want to focus more, you want to become more of an expert in a particular area, or you really want to dive deeper in maybe the profession, the industry that you're already working in, and when we have courses that would help you do that, you can undertake a concentration. So within the program, we have a specified concentration called Agile Lean, which basically is a focus on Agile Lean methodology. So if you choose that concentration, then you would have a subset of electives from which to choose your 4 electives. Or maybe you want to do data sciences as a concentration. You really want to, well, you would take 4 electives in the data sciences program in addition to the 8 core courses for project management. And so we pretty much established a concentration in all of our other, we either have or will establish a concentration in all of the other graduate programs in the university. So students have the ability to use those electives to either broaden themselves generally using the individualized concentration, or to really drill down into one of those other specialties: computer science, analytics, biotech, human-centered interactive design, any of our other programs. So that's how this unfolds. But I'd like to kind of return to the beginning of this as I talked about our faculty and the passion we have for our students, because I like to believe that our most valuable trait as a program is that passion that our faculty have for student success, and that translates into a pretty individualized program. And you can get as much interaction with your professor, each of your professors, as you would ever want. Typically, they're very responsive. They provide very good feedback, and they like to stay engaged with you even after you've left their course. It is not uncommon for me to this day to be, in fact, I did this today. A student that graduated from the program over a year ago called me this morning and asked me if she wouldn't mind me being used as a reference for an employment opportunity. And sure enough, her prospective employer called me later in the afternoon, and I had a great conversation about what a diligent student and how the student had performed so well academically and was such a great addition to the program. So that's not atypical. Our faculty members are very student focused and really enjoy building those relationships. I think that's why we're so excited about the opportunity to come to the City of Knowledge and begin to interact with students in the region on a more personal face-to-face basis. I think I could probably talk for another half hour about this program because I feel so strongly and I'm about it, and I'm so proud of the work that my colleagues do. But I think I'll leave it there. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions? Oh, yeah, the question is coming from Kevin.
Our most, by and large, in the existing population, our most popular is the individualized, because many students don't want to do something different or learn something different, and this gives them an opportunity to broaden their horizons into some fields that they may or have always been curious about, and never had the opportunity to take an academic course in. So that's the predominant one. Our Agile Lean is growing quickly, and our most recent addition is our human-centered interactive design concentration, a new program in the university within the last year, I believe. But I would say it's gaining fast on the second most popular so far, and I don't know. It's a close race between data analytics and human-centered interactive design for the elective courses the students take. Almost all of our students, I will tell you, that take the individualized recognize the value of data science and data analytics, because if they're taking the individualized, one of those 4 courses almost without fail is going to be a data analytics course, because everyone recognizes that data is king, and the ability to understand the power of data is necessary to be successful. So.
Very interesting. Thank you. I have a quick question. As the lead of this program, I'm sure you are hearing from your alumni how the things are going after graduations. Do you have any success stories from your students who have gone through this path that you could share with us?
Yeah, I have a couple of levels of success stories. I have just kind of anecdotally, I have personal success stories because I just found out that the 4th set pair of students who did not know each other entering the program recently got married. So we're running a little bit of a Match.com apparently in our program on the personal level. Very proud to have played some small role in creating happy families. But on a professional level, I guess my most relevant one, the most recent one was today. The student got the job that they called me about. But I had a student who was already successful, was a mechanical engineer, University of Purdue graduate, various well-respected U.S. university and an engineering program, was doing quite well in the automotive industry, and then later in the aeronautical industry. And then he came to our program and sought a master's in project management because he, like many of our students who have highly technical undergraduate, first master's educational and experiential backgrounds, now they're looking to move up the corporate ladder, and they recognize that they need some of the Phil talked about the people skills, the people focus of the new way project management is headed. And so he enrolled in the program, and within 6 weeks, and really it was waiting on his final term to be complete, he was hired as a very senior project management leader in Amazon Web Services at the corporate headquarters. So never had any actual experience in that industry per se. And I've talked to him several times. I've stayed in contact with him over several years, and he told me very soon after he got that job that he credited the conversations that he had with his employers about the things he learned in project management during the interview process that led to them saying, hey, here's a guy who knows the technical side, but he also understands how to get things done. And we kind of jokingly say, you know, project management is simply the art and science of getting stuff done. And so now he had technical competence along with the ability to organize teams and accomplish organizational and strategic objectives, and it made him very valuable right after graduation, and he's doing quite well.
Wonderful, thank you. That was a great story. So thank you again. Thank you, Scott and Philip. That was a great presentation. I'm sure that the audience also enjoyed it. This is already, it's going to be recorded. This is recorded and it's going to be shared on Harrisburg University YouTube channel. You can also get access to our past webinars. So again, thanks our speakers for their great talk, and also special thank to Dr. Kevin Huggins. He is the HULATAM rector, and he has been very helpful and supportive for these sessions. So thank you, everyone. Our next session is going to be in 2 weeks. Hope to see you over there too. Thank you, everyone, and good night.